So we have 3 different types of bleeding. So take out your notebooks if you're a note taker. We're gonna go over what they're called and how they look. So how they look at a patient. So the first one is gonna be arterial bleeding. All right. So arterial bleeding, usually it comes out in squirts. Like it'll just squirt out, like with the heartbeat. So it comes from the heartbeat. So it'll come out in waves or squirts. Okay. And then later on, if we have time, we'll talk about why they look the way they look. But just know arterial bleeding, blood comes out and it squirts out, or it comes out in waves, and it's gonna be bright red. So if it's bright red, you know it's arterial bleeding. Okay? Why do you guys think it's bright red? What makes the blood bright red?
The oxygen.
The oxygen. So that's why. So I'll put a side note. So it's bright red because of the oxygen on the red blood cells. Right, makes it bright red. Then we have venous bleeding. Right? Venous bleeding is more of a steady stream. There's no pulsation, nothing squirting out, it's just coming out steady, a steady flow. Okay? So steady stream or flow, and this one is gonna be dark red. So if you see dark blood, dark red, that means it's coming from the veins. And it's dark red because it doesn't have any oxygen or it has very little oxygen. Okay? Again, the oxygen, when the oxygen goes onto the red blood cells, that's when it turns bright red, the oxygen. Okay? We got a few seconds, and then we'll go over the last one. 3 types of bleeding. Any questions so far? Nope. Chastity, what makes the blood bright red? Oxygen, good job. All right, so the last one is capillary bleeding. All right, capillary bleeding is like an ooze. I'm not sure if I spelled ooze right, but it just oozes out very slow. It's a capillary bleed.
Yeah.
E at the end. So it's an ooze out. All right, so this one can be either bright or dark or somewhere in between.
Ooze out.
Okay, ooze out. Different kinds of bleeding.
What? It's
What?
O-O-Z-E.
Yeah, Z.
E.
Oh, my E came out just a little. I just kind of did it real quick. I didn't pay attention. Okay, so now we're gonna go over the skill. So how to stop bleeding? I'm gonna break some stuff down, and then you guys will practice. You guys will actually do the skill yourself.
Wait, all of that in real life?
Yeah, right now. All right, I'm gonna use him as my patient. After that, I'm gonna split you guys up. You guys will be a group. There will be a group, and you guys will go over how to manage a bleed. Okay, so before we get into it, no, I'm just gonna go into it. So for any single skill, every single skill you have for EMT, the first thing you're gonna say is gonna be BSI. Okay, have you guys ever heard of PPE? That phrase PPE?
Yeah.
What does that stand for? You guys know? No, personal protective equipment. So go ahead and write that down. It's actually up here. So PPE, you guys have to know this stuff for the EMT test. So PPE stands for personal protective equipment. All that means, that's a fancy way of saying that you have on things to protect you. So you have gloves on, or you have goggles on, or you have a mask. You have whatever you need to not get infected. All right, that's what that means. So go ahead and write that down. So personal protective equipment. Personal protective equipment is what you guys will hear, like if you guys are working in a warehouse or working in like some kind of chemical plant or construction. That means you have your hard helmet on, you have your goggles, your mask, whatever you need to not get infected or not get sick. Does that make sense? Okay. Well, in the medical field, PPE, we also do use it sometimes, but you guys might hear it BSI. So BSI stands for body substance isolation. It's the exact same thing as PPE. Okay? Any questions? Okay, cool. And the reason I'm saying this is because in a test, like when you're taking your license test, they can use PPE or they can use BSI, okay? So you guys have to know this stuff. It's just how like okay means good, same thing. PPE means BSI, okay? Okay, standard precautions, also another one. They all these three mean the exact same thing. Standard precautions. It means you're being cautious. You're taking your standard precautions. You have your gloves on or your goggles on or whatever you need.
Kind
So now you see.
protecting yourself when
Yeah.
you walk into that area.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm gonna break all these things down as I go first, and then I'll go over it again without breaking it down. But you guys have to know what all this stuff means. Okay, you have to know the language because there's its own language, and the test is based off that medical language. Questions?
No.
Okay, cool. All right. So for every skill, there's 7 skills or 6. You guys will say the first thing is BSI is my scene safe. And then I am, or somebody else, if I bring somebody else in to help out, they're going to test you out. So you'll be tested out. So you're gonna have a patient. So like, let's say Charles is my patient, and then I'm you right now. So I'm gonna say BSI is my scene safe.